Good evening, everyone. My name is Kyle Shutt with Discovery Education, and I'm very excited to be joining you tonight from Maryland. And tonight we'll be sharing tips and tricks talking about the 2014 Discovery Education 3M Young Scientist Challenge. There's a whole lot of fun things for you to check out, especially if you like apps and technology. We'll be sharing a few secrets and tips and things for you there. But really, the whole goal of this webinar is to help you, the students. We know we have a number of you, as you've already been sharing with us, from all over the country that are joining us. And so my goal is to help you kind of shift from simply registering for the challenge to actually clicking that submit button and uploading your videos. And that's very important. So really excited to get started. Just a few things in case you do not hear me, as I see we have a little bit of that going on right now. You can go up to the Communicate menu at any point and click Stop Audio Broadcast. Go back to that Communicate menu and click Start Audio Broadcast. And that will kind of jump-start the audio in case it cuts out for you. And Helena, if you don't mind typing that in, that'd be great. So Communicate menu, Stop Audio Broadcast, Communicate menu, Start Audio Broadcast, and I will shift over and type that in just a minute. I see a few folks that can't hear us, so I'm not sure why. Hold on one second. Let me deal with this as well. Okay, I haven't been talking, but I'm talking now, and I'm going to type this message and finish it in just a second. So again, Communicate menu, select Stop Audio Broadcast, then go back to the Communicate menu and select Start Audio Broadcast. Hopefully the technical issues for some of you that are unable to connect will be underway and complete by now. So the Communicate menu is at the top of your screen if for whatever reason you couldn't hear. So here we go. Jumping right in, again, like I mentioned, we're talking about the 3M Young Scientist Challenge this evening. And my name is Kyle Shutt. If you have questions, you can go ahead and reach out to me, and we'll also share some things about the better ways for communicating with the folks that help run the Young Scientist Challenge, like Helena, Miss Helena, who's on right now. If you want to know what I look like and who I am, well, here's a picture of me. In fact, I'm standing next to Peyton there. I'm on the right-hand side in the blue shirt, and this was taken last year at our finalist event out in Minnesota. So we had a great time, had a number of students out there, and frankly, we hope that one of you will be standing here in this photo next year in one of these green snazzy T-shirts, sharing your inventions, your ideas, your thoughts on science and innovation. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's the goal of our time tonight. How can we help to get you to this place so that you can get your picture taken and have the time of your life? All right, so with that being said, what is the challenge? Let's just a quick overview in case you perhaps signed up for this and weren't sure exactly what it's about. YoungScientistChallenge.com is the website. Again, Helena, if you have a chance, go ahead and type that into the chat window. And the grade levels that we're really focusing on are 5th through 8th grade students. So we want middle school students to be able to join us. And if you're a 5th to 8th grade student, you'll be able to submit and win prizes, in fact, up to $25,000. Trips of a lifetime, lots of stuff like that. And really, what's the meat, the heart and soul of this contest? It's to submit a 1 to 2 minute video on select topics. That's it. You create a 1 to 2 minute video, and you could be one of the students here at the World of 3M Innovation, which is exactly where this picture was taken. So we hope that you are able to join us, and we'll get you started from here. Next slide, again, you're just following along, you're listening to me talk, and you're typing in the chat window when you have any sort of questions. So what does that 1 to 2 minute video consist of? Just quick overviews here. a problem, how it impacts you, your family, the community, or even the global population. So you're going to identify a problem on some level, right? In addition to identifying that problem, you're going to describe a new innovation or a solution that you could solve that problem and make an impact on it, okay? Of course, you're going to talk about the science, the technology, the engineering, or the math, whatever the content is that helps you to create this innovation. We want to hear about that because, right, that's the connections to your school and what you're doing every single day. So we want to definitely hear about that. And we, of course, want you to illustrate how your innovation could address everyday problems you've identified and have a broader impact locally or globally. Okay, so that's a 1 to 2 minute video. That's what we're looking for you to create. And I think it's always worthwhile to just pause and say, okay, what would you actually be doing? How will you be evaluated when you do it? And what will we be looking for when you do it? So how will you be evaluated? Creativity, 30% of the score. So how innovative are you as a thinker? Is it a new idea? Is it a new solution to a common problem? The scientific knowledge that you represent will be about 30%. So do you demonstrate that you do understand the science behind what your innovation is meant to do? Of course, your persuasiveness, your effective communication skills, in fact, sometimes considered your passion. That's 20% of your presentation evaluation or your video evaluation. And then the overall presentation, 20% is how does it look, how does it feel, what, does it make me want to help you in solving this, okay, in this problem. So I love that you guys are already jumping in, and that's exactly where we're going to shift is, first, let's take a quick tour of the Young Scientist Challenge so that I can show you some of those resources and things that you're already asking about. Because, again, you're trying to find, and I love that you're sharing with one another what your favorite tools are for video editing and things like that. I haven't even answered or asked the question yet, but we're going to jump right on in here. Okay, so let's take a look at the Young Scientist Challenge website, because if you haven't been there, perhaps you've applied in previous years, and well, the website has received a makeover, and I think that's fun. That's some really good stuff, and I like that it has received a makeover. So being that the website has received a makeover, I'm going to take you out there just as a heads up before we go there. Your screen is going to flash for a minute. That's basically me taking control and taking you to my desktop. And then after it flashes, you'll be able to see exactly what I'm sharing with you. Okay? So we're going to go out to the YoungScientistChallenge.com. Here we go. Okay, so you should now be seeing my web browser. I will fill the screen with it so that it's as easy as possible for you. Now, if for whatever reason you have a question, you might have noticed that your chat window disappeared. Not to worry, you can find the chat window by going to the top of your screen, and if you kind of put your cursor in the middle top of your screen, a little menu will appear and you can click on the chat bubble again. All right, so first off, YoungScientistChallenge.com, one of the places that I think you should take a look at, because you might be wondering and kind of bordering on the fence, should I join, should I submit a video, should I not submit a video? When you go to the 2014 challenge, you can see we're already there at the top. It's kind of grayed in. Okay, we're at the 2014 challenge website. There are top 10 reasons to participate. So think about kind of, used to be Jay Leno, right, top 10, David Letterman, he still has the top 10, things like that. These are our top 10 reasons to participate. One, we already mentioned it. You could win $25K and an unforgettable once-in-a-lifetime trip. I think that's enough reason in itself to participate. But what's another one? What about getting to work with 3M scientists? And I think you'll hear from Peyton and Srijay a little bit later how that mentoring experience was just one you'll never forget, and you're building incredible relationships with some scientists. Of course, friendships, we have groups that come together and bond, and even though they are competing against one another, they also are becoming friends throughout the entire process, and that's really neat. What about number 4 here? Learning goes a long way, right? This is showing how it's more than just learning in a textbook, and the scientists help us to do that. Of course, number 5, our competitors' ideas and their innovations make a real difference. If you've followed our challenge and our contest at all, you'll know that Peyton, in fact, who's on and sharing with us tonight, he's been even able to present on the Ellen Show and a number of other areas as well. So definitely able to help shout his message from the rooftop, which is pretty neat. And of course, you'll be able to present your idea to a panel of judges, which is really a fun experience on getting feedback and ideas. Also, no textbooks, right? This is an outside-of-the-box kind of dreaming, innovative contest. We just want you to use your brains and use your ideas and be imaginative. And, well, while you're doing that, if you become a finalist, you'll get to travel to St. Paul, Minnesota and tour the exclusive labs of 3M headquarters. And not anybody can do that. In fact, it's very exclusive. Only certain people are even invited inside. So it's not open to the public. And of course, it's fun, fun, fun. We want you to not only be able to take part, but to add this to your college resumes and talk about how it's made an impact on you. And of course, you could be America's top young scientist, and that would be your title. So that's kind of fun too. Let me take a glance at the chat window. I see a few comments and things in here. All right, so most of our comments seems like they're specific conversations from one another, so let's keep on plowing right along. So what's our next section of the website that I want to take you to? Well, that's our entry video tips. And again, if you're in the 2014 challenge section here, entry video tips are just a way, again, if you want to know, get a leg up on the competition a little bit, these are some things to think about. Specifically, tip number one, be passionate about your topic. Passion always reigns and helps you to be able to communicate your ideas. Plan ahead and research, research, research. In fact, if you know what you're doing and what you're talking about, it's because you've spent the time up front researching your idea, making sure that someone else hasn't already done it, that it makes a good presentation and so forth. Be innovative, and while you're doing that, speak clearly, right? This will help you capture your audience's attention. Of course, follow the checklist that we provide. Is your file size within the right dimensions? Are you between 1 and 2 minutes? We want to make sure you're not over 2 minutes. Have fun, okay? That's the biggest thing. I think lots of the videos, and even the videos you'll see the rest of this evening, they're all about having fun and sharing your ideas with others. Now, speaking of sharing your ideas, we have things that we want to share with you. So student resources is the next place. These are the top 3 areas I would share. 2 of them were in the 2014 challenge section. 1 is in the About section. So the About section right here is where you'll want to take a peek, because we do have a whole lot of resources to get you started. So, for example, you're trying to get ideas for researching your topic. Take a look at these websites. Have you gone there? Have you browsed around and seen what ideas, what's going on in the news, what you could maybe brainstorm and generate off of? Okay? If you're looking for expert tips, guidance to create your video, why not go ahead, use our blank storyboard. We'll talk about our storyboard in just a little bit, but storyboarding is the essence of creating a good video, mapping out your ideas, planning ahead, and outlining. What about going to Kathy Shark's Guide to Digital Storytelling? It was a great, great resource with a ton of resources about digital storytelling, which is exactly what you're doing when you create that 1 to 2 minute video. Science Extras, links to other places that can get you started, and lots of our partners that help us to put on the Young Scientist Challenge or support it in some manner. So go ahead and take a look at those websites. We even have past archive. I mentioned that we'd be archiving this webinar. We have previous webinars that you can go back and watch as well that could help you as you're trying to put your presentation together. So those are the 3 areas. Again, the About Student Resources section, and then if you click on the 2014 challenge, video entry tips, that was definitely a helpful one. And I like the top 10 reasons to participate. So hopefully that gets you started. I'm going to stop sharing though, because again, we want to jump into how else can we help you as you're shifting from not just registering for this challenge. We want every single one of you, this is kind of our call to action. We want every single one of you that's on here tonight to submit a video, because you do have the chance to be able to do it. So let's talk about that. How can we share some resources? Now, one thing real quick, I do want to mention, of course, in a nice, comfortable and fun, friendly atmosphere, I like that you guys are sharing ideas. I like that you're talking with one another about what can work and what can't work, that you're troubleshooting. So just keep helping one another out. I see that you're already doing that in the chat window. That's helpful, and keep it a productive conversation. So thank you for doing that. Of course, turn your volume up as well if that sometimes helps you to be able to hear sound. So, all right, our next slide. What else do we have for you? Well, we have a bunch of stuff here and we want to talk about, specifically storyboarding. Storyboarding, I cannot impress upon you enough. You've probably heard this from your teachers before a number of times where they, before you start writing your story or an idea, you'll outline all of your thoughts and make sure that you get them down on pieces of paper. Many of our finalists share that, yes, they did have a storyboard. Sometimes they do it on a napkin or a paper towel or a scrap piece of paper. But at some level, they have ideas that they want to share, and they've thought through exactly how they're going to plan from one scene to the next scene within their storyboard. So how could you do this? Well, again, you're creating a new solution to a problem. And whatever that new solution is, you want to share that. And so a storyboard allows you to draw a quick sketch, stick man or fine, use a paper pencil, and then to describe what's happening in that scene. So if it's a new innovation about something outside, well, in box 1, you probably want to set the scene, show where you are. It's a scene from outside. You're identifying the problem. At some point later on, you want to, after identifying the problem, talk about the content, the math, the science, the technology. So you want to add that as a part of your storyboard. And this is a storyboard right off of that student resources page. So you can download it and you can use it, and it's there for you. So go ahead, and we definitely want you to be able to storyboard. And storyboarding, as I mentioned, will also help you when you get into actually holding that iPhone or that Android phone or that video camera, however you're capturing your specific segments of your video. So storyboarding is an important one. Now, if you are the technology-savvy person and you prefer not to do paper and pencil for storyboarding, that's okay. I wanted to give a few ideas, and specifically one idea for storyboarding is to use the app Toontastic. Have you heard of Toontastic? Maybe you've already used Toontastic. Let me know if you have, because that's nope, Juliet has not. Okay, so it's for Android and iPhone. Excuse me. And Toontastic is really fun because it allows you to kind of storyboard, or what it calls the storyboard more of a story arc. But same idea. It allows you to map out exactly what you want to do and just have a little fun as you're doing it on a tablet device. So specifically like an iPad or something like that. So this is one of the scenes when you use that app. It's called Toontastic. It lets you think about, hey, how do I want to set up my shot? What's the conflict or, right, the problem? How are you meeting the problem and sharing about that challenge? How are you proposing a solution to that challenge? And that's kind of at the climax there to the resolution. And just that's another way or another thought that you can map out your video, your, again, 1 to 2 minute video that you're creating. Toontastic might be a way if you're using apps and you're looking into it. Take a peek there. And of course, yes, Autodesk and some 3D animation softwares and things. I love that you guys are sharing some ideas as well. So nope, this is just another idea for storyboarding. Okay, so what are some constraints and things that you want to think about when you're storyboarding and mapping out your project? Well, when you're drawing that little scene and shot list, you want to remember, hey, only you can be in the video, you the student. So you want to make sure that you're somewhere where there's not people in the background, right? And you don't have to worry about people walking into your shot. And then, of course, the next big one, you want to make sure that you keep it under 2 minutes, right? That's so important because it's a shame when people send us 3- and 4-minute videos and automatically they're disqualified because they didn't follow the rules and they didn't pay attention. It needs to be trimmed down. It needs to be 2 minutes. Or less, 1 to 2 minutes, okay? Those are the 2 most important things that we want you to be able to remember. All right, so you've already mapped out your storyboard. You know what you're going to do. You're going out, you've starting to capture some video. Maybe you're even doing some work on your computer. You're using a screencasting software or animation software as was suggested. There's lots of different tools and ideas out there. But what suggestions do we have for you? Well, specifically, one of the most noticeable things of students when they submit their videos, we get lots of herky-jerky videos. And I have to tell you, it's really, really hard to focus on the content and the ideas that you have to share when your camera is shaking up and down and all around. So steady your camera as best as possible. Even use a tripod if you can. That will really help you to communicate your ideas more clearly. Create bullets of your talking points ahead of time, okay? So if you know that you're in a certain shot and you're trying to talk about something in that, about how your innovation will make an impact, just don't worry about memorizing a script as much as create some bullet points so that you know that you want to talk about the first bullet point, then the second bullet point, then the third bullet point. Hold on 1 second, please. Okay, sorry about that. I needed to deal with something here in the chat window. So again, keep the communications in the chat window productive. Let's make sure that we have that underway. So I think we have taken care of the challenges there, so no problem. All right, so talking about, again, what you can do, what suggestions we have if you're going to be shooting this video and creating it. You're going to keep your camera steady. You're going to create some bullet points so you know what you're going to say and you're on topic and you're on track. And speaking slowly and clearly. That's very, very helpful, okay? Definitely helpful. Speak slowly and clearly. And then consider the lighting. And, are you bright enough? Can we see you or whatever it is you're trying to share with us? And is there background noise that's taking away from you sharing your ideas? Of course, if you're outside, maybe you're at the ocean or something, well, that's understandable that you can't make the ocean become quieter. However, if you're next to somebody that's having a loud conversation, you can move away from those folks so that we don't hear their conversation. And then, of course, yes, there's a couple other ideas. Well, what else could you do? You could use music. Yeah, you could use some background sounds. You can do a lot of that stuff, and we're going to get into that with the editing ideas here in just a minute, okay? But you can use an iPhone. I know that there are a number of you saying that you would not use an iPhone. I've seen a number of videos that work just fine on an iPhone or an Android device. Again, as long as you're following these suggestions, you're holding your iPhone as steady as possible, and so forth. So speaking of that, how could you do it? Well, one of my favorite apps is YouTube Capture. If you're going to use an iPhone or an Android device, some sort of a small personal handheld device, YouTube Capture is by far one of my favorite suggestions. Why? For this reason, specifically right here. Most videos, think about when you watch a TV show or even a movie, videos are typically horizontal. And that's how we should shoot them because we can capture the most in the frame that way. However, a number of students do end up shooting their video vertically. If you use YouTube Capture, you see the image on the left, YouTube Capture won't even let you press the record button. Notice there's no red record button, and this is a screen capture right from my iPhone when I was shooting just the other day. In fact, it has the little emblem that says, turn your device sideways, make it horizontal, and once I did that and I made it horizontal, on the right-hand side you can see then the record button showed up, okay? So by clicking, by turning it, then it was able to allow you to record it. That's super important, okay? So YouTube Capture, that's another suggestion. Now there's been a lot of questions here, specifically comments about editing your video, what you can do, what you can't do, and so forth, okay? Yes, you can edit your video. We're not putting any limitations on that. What we would say, though, is that there are a few suggestions just to make it a little bit better for you and better for the audience. Keep it simple. Often the more you add is not better, and in fact, again, think about that rubric. when we were talking about what we are looking for, we're really looking for how you're a science communicator, how you're sharing content and strategies. So if you have too much sound effects or too much music that's too loud, it's overpowering, and you're taking away from that, that's not a good thing, right? So keep it simple. And if you're going to add effects and things like that, make sure they don't take away from what you're trying to share. And then think about your transitions. If it makes sense for there to be a transition, great. But if you don't actually need a transition, don't get too hung up on adding all these extra things. Because again, all the little things like that, the editing, that's not necessarily going to get you to become a finalist. What's going to get you to become a finalist is spending your time researching, thinking, innovating, being imaginative, coming up with that new solution, new innovation to some sort of a challenge or a problem. Okay. And yes, that's another great suggestion. I'm so glad that Juliet is saying that. So if you're thinking about editing, if you're going to use an editing tool, iMovie, for example, won't work if it's vertical video. So these are some things that we would want to present and share with you ahead of time. And I saw a question, is this PowerPoint going to be available? Yes, I believe we will be sharing this right on the website and sending a follow-up email with this information as well. So, Preeti, great question. A working prototype won't affect the decision at all. If you have a working prototype, that could help, but that doesn't necessarily, you don't necessarily have to have one to be able to communicate and to be able to share your video. So, yeah, something to consider. Okay, back to editing. We mentioned iMovie. If you're looking for tools, there are so many tools out there. If you do a little Google search, there are YouTube videos on how to use all of these tools. We could spend time doing it, but it's really up to you guys as to how much you want to know, learn, and incorporate into your projects. So just know that if you're on a Mac or an iOS-powered device, so iPhone or even an iPad, iMovie is the app that you want to use. That's probably your best bet. If you're on a PC, a Windows-based device, think about Windows Movie Maker. That's probably your best bet there. And you could also use things like Photo Story. That's also been used to share slides and tell stories that way. And another one, again, talking about web apps and URLs and things that might be helpful, WeVideo. This is a platform-agnostic tool. What does that mean? It doesn't matter whether you're on a PC or a Mac. As long as you can get to the Internet, WeVideo should work for you. That's a web-based tool, and that might be one that you want to take a look at and use. I know we've had some fun playing around with WeVideo, and it's pretty solid tool, and it's free mostly, as long as you just keep it down and keep your content limited. So WeVideo might be very helpful. Yes, if you're very much into high-tech editing and things, yes, you can always use Adobe, Photoshop, Premiere, Elements, things like that. There's a lot of programs that are used in even the industry and things that we know you guys are super smart and that you have been studying them and know how to use those. So if you have those at your command, feel free to do so. But these are just a few tips for getting started, specifically if you wanted to add some effects but weren't sure how to. Okay, so that being said, we're now at this kind of next stage of our presentation. So we've shared a whole lot of resources, ways that you can perfect your videos while you're, we hope that you've already got started, but in case you haven't, that you can shoot your video, suggestions for editing your video, and so forth. What we want to do now is we want to shift, and we want to talk with our finalists from last year. And before we do that, we thought, hey, wouldn't it be great if we also watch their videos, right? Because if you're looking for examples and what you might think about doing, the best way sometimes is to see what others have done and how they've started. So we're going to start with Srijay. And Srijay, I'm just going to share your video, and I hope that all of you that are watching and that are on the webinar here can pay close attention, because think about those suggestions and tips that we provided. When we finish, what we're going to do is we're going to actually have you talk about what you saw, what made this video work, and why we helped to select it as one of the finalists. So what will happen is I'm going to share a link. there'll be a new little tab that opens up. When I do that, your video will start to play right away. It's a YouTube video, okay? Count to probably 20 after your video finishes playing, and then I will bring us back to where we were, because I want to make sure the video has time to load for everyone.